Dr. Evelyn Maris had always believed that science, not myth, held the answers to the universe. A xenobiologist by training and ambition, she dedicated her life to unraveling the mysteries of alien ecosystems. When the Weyland-Yutani Corporation offered her a seat on the research vessel Helios, she accepted without hesitation. The mission: analyze dormant xenomorph specimens recovered from a derelict site in the Zeta-2 Reticuli system. They kept the creatures frozen in cryostasis, sealed within layers of biocontainment. Evelyn's job was to study them, dissect, analyze, learn. She worked long hours in the lab, often alone. She found herself drawn to one particular specimen, a facehugger with unusually pronounced limb segmentation and an opaque central sac. She called it Specimen X7. It seemed different from the others, older, maybe, more aware. The mistake wasn't obvious at first. Evelyn had been experimenting with low-frequency neural mapping, using electromagnetic pulses to simulate neural activity in the dormant alien brain. It was supposed to be harmless. She had run the simulations dozens of times. But X7 twitched. Not just a reflex. It responded. She should have sounded the alarm. She didn't. She convinced herself it was an artifact in the data or a mechanical error. But that night, as she lay in her bunk, something changed. A pulse of foreign sensation surged through her mind, like a whisper that wasn't sound, like a dream invading waking consciousness. Images flashed behind her closed eyes. Dark tunnels, chittering movement, damp organic walls pulsing with life. Then came the voice, no language, just intention. Felt ancient, curious, hungry. She screamed awake, gasping. Over the following days, she couldn't escape it. The connection deepened. At first, it came like static at the edges of her thoughts, but then it formed ideas, commands, questions. The Hive was reaching for her, not physically, but telepathically. She was linked, somehow. Not infected in the traditional sense. No embryo gestated inside her. This was something else. A mental bond. An accident born of her tampering with a brain that had no business being awake. She tried to hide it. Her colleagues noticed her distraction, her sudden migraines, the way she seemed to flinch at nothing. Evelyn claimed stress, fatigue. In truth, the Hive was becoming louder, and she was beginning to understand them. They weren't mindless predators, not entirely. They had a will, purpose. The Hive mind, filtered through X7, revealed flashes of alien memory. She saw queens laying eggs in ancient caverns, warriors dying to protect larvae, generations spanning millennia evolving in response to hostile worlds. The xenomorphs adapted with terrifying precision. But there was something new now, something missing. They were reaching out, through her, trying to grasp what made humans different. Not just flesh, but imagination, abstraction, creativity. The Hive wanted to learn, to evolve, and she was the bridge. The thought horrified her and fascinated her. Evelyn found herself speaking to the facehugger, even when it remained motionless in containment. She called it you, as if it were a person. The bond was no longer one way. It answered in flashes of concept, in images of genetic structures, in emotions that were not hers. She was becoming fluent in a language that defied grammar. One night, in the dark of the lab, the containment system failed. No alarms sounded. No mechanical errors were logged. It simply opened. Evelyn didn't move. She stood still as X7 unfolded itself and crawled across the table toward her. She expected fear, revulsion. But the bond pulsed with something else, recognition. The facehugger stopped at the edge of the table and turned its underside toward her, offering its ovipositor. She placed her hand on it. The contact ignited a storm of vision. She collapsed, convulsing as waves of memory poured into her. Alien births, ancient queens, planets consumed and discarded. But there was more. She saw herself reflected through their eyes. A tool. A catalyst. A doorway. She awoke hours later, alone, face untouched, heartbeat steady. X7 was gone. They never found it. Evelyn reported a containment anomaly, said the specimen disintegrated during experimentation. Her colleagues noted her change, subtle at first. She moved with more confidence, more certainty. Her voice was calm, cold. Her eyes lingered too long. Inside her, the voice no longer whispered, conversed. She altered her research parameters. Quietly, methodically, she rewrote the genetic analysis protocols. She introduced human DNA samples into the xenomorph genome simulations. She began working on artificial embryo accelerants. Her notes became cryptic, layered in code only she understood. The lab's AI flagged her work several times. She deleted the logs before the system could report. The Hive watched through her eyes, learning. She stopped sleeping. She didn't need to. Dreams and waking life blurred. She saw her body from above sometimes, as if she had become both vessel and observer. The Hive showed her futures, some filled with fire, others with black oceans teeming with evolved forms that shimmered with bioluminescent intelligence. They could be more. She could make them more. But there were still moments of resistance. One day, Dr. Halberd confronted her. He was the ship's psychiatrist, the only one who had insisted Evelyn take a mental health evaluation. She sat in his office, silent, while he asked gentle questions she no longer had patience for. He noted her flat affect, her odd pauses, the way she referred to herself in plural. She smiled and told him the truth. "We're learning." That was all she said. Later that night, Halberd died. A lab accident, they said. An autopsy was never performed. Evelyn made sure of it. The crew dwindled over the following months. Transfers, resignations, and one disappearance that the ship's logs never fully explained. Evelyn remained. The Helios became hers. She stopped pretending. She grew new embryos in silence, fusing human and xenomorph traits in ways that should not have been possible. The Hive fed her knowledge, cellular structures from worlds the company had never mapped, viral algorithms encoded in protein chains. She no longer wrote reports. She grew children. The first was born in darkness. It didn't scream or claw. It looked at her with eyeless understanding. It didn't attack. It listened. Evelyn wept. Not from fear or horror, but pride. The creature grew fast. It learned faster. It solved puzzles she built, communicated through gesture, sound, and eventually thought. A hybrid. Not merely a xenomorph with human DNA, but a new species. One that could plan, could imagine. The Hive rejoiced. More followed. 10. Then 20. The ship was silent save for them. Moving in shadows, building nests from metal and flesh, but never harming her. She was the queen of sorts. The conduit. The mother. She modified the engines next. Set a course for a remote planet, uninhabited, with rich biosphere potential. She would seed a new hive there, one that would grow in secret, away from human interference. Not to destroy humanity, but to outgrow it. She wrote a message to Earth, cryptic, poetic, unreadable to anyone without access to the code she embedded in it. It ended with one phrase: "We dreamed you before you dreamed us." As the ship broke orbit, Evelyn stood on the bridge, surrounded by her children. The link was complete. She no longer needed speech. Every mind in the Hive sang in harmony. She wasn't human anymore. She wasn't xenomorph. She was the future.